5 minutes after the hour, the Glen Biegel Show continues. And guess what? I have returned from the semi-dead. Actually, most of the time people stay home now. I truly think they would have gone to work in the past, but now we're so health conscious that I feel worse about how I make other people feel than how I might feel if I'm not well. Does that make sense? I mean, that's really where we are. You're listening to the Glen Biegel Show here on KOAN, KVNT 569-1080. Have you ever gone to work specifically to get other people sick? That is a question that could come up. Have you ever stayed home not feeling, particularly bad, but you just don't want to face the scoffs and the abuse? Really, I mean, that literally is what it is when you get right down to it, that come your way because you're not perfectly well and you happen to have the audacity to want to do your job. You understand what I mean? I mean, we're adults here. We have to operate in all kinds of strange and odd circumstances and situations. Sometimes the room's a little cold and sometimes the room's a little hot. Well, guess what? Welcome to sickness.
I think I got you sick and I think you're mad about it.
No, I don't think so. The sickness had gone through my house 3 or 4 times.
That's true.
Each and every little person, including my wife, had gone through this terrible bout of sickness. And there I was, master of the domain. I wasn't going to give in. I'm not susceptible to your weakness, all you people. And then, of course, it takes me down. But you had a theory about this. We had a spat with somebody who had been on the program. I won't be specific about whom, but they said I was vilifying someone, and what was the other one?
Rabble-rousing.
Rabble-rousing. Very particular and peculiar terms.
And of all the people I know, I probably would say that you are the least likely to rabble-rouse.
Yeah. Well, rabble-rousing, as it turns out, I remember from the biblical context, where Barabbas, who was the guy, they were outside of Pilate's palace, if you'll recall the scene. And there is Jesus, and he's brutalized, right? He's been stripped and whipped, and I mean, just the crown of thorns, all this bad stuff has happened to him. And so he's there in all of his, quote, glory. He doesn't look very glorified at that point. But they're asking the crowd, which has all these Jewish leaders in it, and they're trying to get the Romans to hang Jesus because they can't kill anyone. There's no death penalty at that time in Jewish culture. So they were trying to get the Romans to do it for them. They really wanted Jesus gone. So they asked the crowds, and again, we're talking here about a little spat that I had, and one of your theories was that I felt bad about this conversation that I had, to the point that it actually made me sick.
I think it weakened your defenses.
I don't think so. It really didn't bother me all that much. I did correct it though, which normally I don't do. I do not. If somebody has an opinion of what was said and how it came out and all that kind of stuff, I just kind of let it sit. But in this case, I wanted to respond. So anyway, so they were going to release Jesus, the King of the Jews, or do you want us to release the rabble rouser, Barabbas, who was also an insurrectionist and a murderer? So they actually had the Pilate release a murderer back into the Jewish population instead of Jesus. That's how badly they wanted him dead. So anyway, so yeah, I did. To A, ask questions that I think people want answers to, and B, not ask them in such a way that I paint anyone in an unfair light. Look, I'm not saying that, and I never said that what Walker is trying to do, I never said it wouldn't work. I've never said that he's not trying to do his best or what he thinks is right. I'm just merely trying to distinguish between the two sides. There's one group that thinks we had a 25% deal in a pipeline, and there's another group who thinks the last thing we want is a 25% deal in a pipeline. We want to own 100% of this baby, or as much of a percent as we can. There's one group that says we need to work with the producers. They've treated us well. They have lifted us up. They are the reason why we are, as it turns out, shockingly still the wealthiest state. We make the most per hour of any any place, any state in the union. I mean, it's an amazing track record of economic success. But yet it's not good enough, of course. They've been stealing from us, these rotten oil companies. So there's a group who thinks that. And then there's a group who thinks, you know what, we ought to involve, or there's a group that thinks the oil companies done us well. And then there's a group who thinks we ought to offer and favor the buyers of the gas and get them involved at the front end. We sign a long-term contract. And then, so anyway, but there's a theory, and I think this does happen, by the way, very often, where people get so wound up in life that they just can't quite settle things in their own mind. And yeah, we're being attacked all the time. We're our chi, our center, it's unsettled, and that can throw us off. So anyway, but that was an interesting theory, but I don't think that was the case. Lots to talk about on the program today. We got budget issues down in Juneau. Mayor of Anchorage actually got involved in a conversation today. Apparently, Steeren asked this question of Amy Domboski, and she actually answered it incorrectly, so I'll correct her on the air. But it was, what's the largest budget you've ever managed? And so she gave an answer, and I actually had to correct it on the site, and nobody else had done that. So we'll talk about that. Tom Cotton, Jason Klein. All right. Well, he's a good friend of the program, and he was a listener back during the fastest show on radio. I did a show 5:30 to 6 o'clock, which is when a lot of people started listening to the program. This was years and years ago. But anyway, so he gives us this nice carrot, like a beautiful plum or whatever. And then he takes it away. He said Tom Cotton's going to be on the program, and now all of a sudden, Tom Cotton's got to go on Fox News? Seriously?
What's the deal? Why aren't we more important than Fox News?
Hello, this is a big deal program, 569-1080. The Glen Biegel Show, it is Wednesday. Actually, it's Wing Wednesday, folks. We're going to do that later in the program today. Stay tuned. We'll be right back 12 minutes after the hour. 16 minutes after the hour, Glen Biegel Show on air here, KOAN and KVNT. I would love to hear from you. It is Wing Wednesday. The hour sponsor for this hour of the show is A&A The Shop. 562-3919 gets you to Alaska's greatest car shop. 6 out of the last 12 years, the best shop in Anchorage by Press Picks. A record, and it's because they have the best warranty in the business. 36-month, 36,000-mile warranty for both parts and labor. So they'll pay for the labor if anything goes wrong with anything they have done. It's just there's no other place to take your Subaru. 562-3919-696-2096. That gets you to A&A The Shop, aAtheshop.com. All right. The Iditarod is underway, and I would like to hear from you whether or not you think Sass, who got kicked out of the Iditarod, whether he performed an unforgivable sin of having a two-way device.
Did you hear what that was, by the way?
It was an iPad.
Was it an iPad or iPod?
iPod Touch.
Yes, it's Wi-Fi capable.
Oh, that's all it is?
I think so.
Well, do they have Wi-Fi hotspots up and down the line?
I guess he used it in the Yukon Quest and thought it'd be fine for the Iditarod.
Well, I guess not. He didn't consider the Wi-Fi feature would disqualify him from the race. Talking with an Iditarod insider tonight, the veteran musher says he made a stupid mistake at the Tanana checkpoint. He said they made it clear at the beginning of the race that there was no two-way device to be used during the race. It was a complete screw-up on my part. What a bummer. Rule number 35. Rule 35, electronic devices. No two-way communication device, including cell phones, shall be carried or used unless provided by ITC. Use of any electronic communication or tracking device shall not be permitted unless provided by the ITC, while a musher may carry a one-way emergency device such as an emergency locator transmitter or other similar satellite tracking device. Activation of any help or emergency signal, including accidental activation, will make a musher ineligible to continue and will result in automatic withdrawal. So there you go. Night vision goggles are not allowed. What kind of a rule is that?
That seems unsafe almost.
I like night vision goggles. I want these guys in full like military gear with night vision goggles. That would be cool. Use of a GPS is permitted. GPSs aren't two-way communication devices. I guess they don't have to be. They could just receive the satellite.
I think that's like they use a spot. It's called a spot, and it only sends out.
It only receives.
I think it only sends out waves.
Oh.
I don't know. It tells people where they are.
Well, sometimes we do things, and have you ever done anything for which it was like beyond complete stupidity? I take things like
I was 19 once.
I take like car accidents. I've been in a number of car accidents. I was not I knew it was going to go badly. There were 2 car accidents, well 3 now, that I probably should bring up. Number 1 happened 6 days after I got my license. Now, I ask you this question. I am driving down the road going to wash windows. I have a 22-foot ladder with a red thing on the end of the ladder on top of my little
rabbit?
Diesel rabbit.
Yes.
And the doggone postman hits me. How do you miss that? I mean, it's almost like Mulberry Street, right? There's a reindeer pulling a some kind of thing with a brass band on it, and you plow into them. It's like, okay, whatever, pal. And I didn't know. I had my stinking license 6 days at that point, so I was like totally frozen. Oh, he's gonna hit me. He's pulling out.
And then bam.
I didn't know what to do. Yeah. So that was bad.
I thought mine was bad. It was like a month. I got a speeding ticket after about a month.
Speeding tickets don't count?
No, but then the 2 wrecks after that did. I feel your pain.
All right. Well, here's where I turn full conservative. You ready for this one? Tony Knowles Mayor. This will tell you about when it is. I think it was 1990, something like that. And I had come home during Christmas break from college, and I was delivering pizzas to make a couple extra bucks. Don't ask me how all this happens. It's just really strange. Anyway, it snows like 2 feet. 2 feet at a time. Here I am. I don't know if I'm in the same Diesel Rabbit or another Diesel Rabbit. And I'm going, I think, about 15 miles an hour. I just delivered a pizza. I think it was a place called Gregory Drive. It was like off Hillside or O'Malley or something like that.
DeArmond.
And there's this very gentle slope. And my little Diesel Rabbit, it only has like a 4-inch clearance. And there's 20 inches of snow. Well, as it turns out, whoever designed these idiotic cars, on the bottom of the car, you know what the bottom of a sled looks like, where it has little places for the snow to go?
Right.
That's exactly what the bottom of a Diesel Rabbit looks like as well. And so my little sled, called the Diesel Rabbit, started to go down the hill. My tires were not in contact with the stupid road.
It's just sledding.
I was totally sledding. I sled right out into the street, and a Suburban comes along, and
ooh,
right in the driver's door too.
Ouch.
Now, here's the odd thing about it. I have lived through and would have died from, had I been wearing my seatbelt, dead. Woke up in the passenger seat. The Suburban was in the driver's seat, so there was no more driver's seat there to be had. I woke up not wearing my seatbelt in the passenger seat. Glenn would have been dead.
But statistically,
no Glenn.
I know, but that's scary. Yeah, don't go there.
Well, okay, but here's the other one. So this is the third accident I've been in. I got run over by a car. I hit the bike rider in front of me, and I flipped into the road. I got drug underneath this car for a while. These are gross stories. Are these okay for radio?
I think so.
Okay. How are you doing out there, everybody?
Sensationalism.
This is wonderful.
Be rabble-rousing.
Rabble-rousing and no vilifying, if you please. Glen Biegel Show here, KOA and KBNT, 24 minutes after the hour. So I got run over. I barely lived through that one. But had I had a helmet on, I'm convinced that I wouldn't have lived at all. Underneath the car, I got doubled over and drugged for a while, and then popped out the back. I probably wouldn't have had a concussion, but I don't think I would have survived the rest of it. So
let this be a lesson. No seatbelts and no helmets.
No seatbelts, no helmets. The question is, should we have a law which could have killed me twice?
No, I don't believe that there should be a law for that.
Amen. There. See, there you go. And that's what made me conservative, because Tony Knowles had run out of money and he wasn't going to plow Anchorage's streets. And he didn't.
I would call that essential.
I agree with you. Yeah. I think my car, my little Diesel Rabbit with a 4-inch clearance, considered it essential as well. Although it was fun for a very, very brief period of time until I realized my tires are not in contact with the road. I have heard some warning signs down in Juneau about a friend of the program. Should I bring up Laura Reinbold, do you think?
Well, I think you just did.
Well, we're still trying to find out what's true and what's not true. And party politics are pretty rough and tumble. And it's the same thing with the corporation. If you start causing trouble for the corporation basically gets really mad at you. And then they start not just, throwing you out, but they can do lots of other things to you as well.
And that's causing trouble as in standing up for what's right.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. So, I think I need to go through exactly what a party is for, how they work in Juneau, because most people probably don't understand this. And for the most part, unfortunately, what parties are for these days, rather than what they used to be for. What they used to be for, the Democrats are still for. A party is for carrying an ideology, a view of government and its relationship to the people through time. That's the purpose of a party. The purpose of a party is not to get people who have your letter elected, regardless of what they believe. Okay? Now, the problem we have is there aren't very many Republicans that believe in limited government anymore. There are some. So in my mind, we have 3 parties. We got the left-wing party, the Democrats. There is no conservative principle that they believe in. They are not interested in any traditional values. They are not interested in anything which strengthens families at the expense of the power of government. Hello. Oh, I called you out there, didn't I? Sometimes you got to lay down the truth, and sometimes the truth is hard. If you put before a Democrat, okay, look, we're going to have to make the government weaker and families will be stronger. We cannot have as many food stamps as we have now. Families will be stronger if we do that. We cannot reward women for having more children out of wedlock. We have to highlight and incentivize and make sure that as many people get married as possible. Ooh, can't do that. So we have just dramatically different sides. That's the left. But in the middle and now on the right, you have two parties, and that's the Republican Party. You got the establishment Republican Party, and you got my Republican Party, which looks at the platform and says, you know what, that is a good idea. I like a strong military. I like closed borders. I like immigration when it's legal. I like law and order, and I like strong families. And those are the things the Republicans stand for. I don't know if it's an electable platform anymore, frankly. I mean, I look out there and see what the Democrats are up to and what they'll put up with from their party. They didn't used to believe half the stuff they believe now. Well, it's very odd, but there are definitely two Republican parties, and they're fighting with each other, and it's coming out in Juneau. We'll cover that. We'll also cover the mayoral race and something I had to get involved with. Look forward to your phone calls as well, 569-1080 and 357-5868. The Glen Biegel Show, 20 of the hour. 27 minutes before the hour, the Glen Biegel Show continues. Bonnie Cameron on the other side of the glass waiting to take your phone calls. 569 1080 357 5868. Hillary is in a spot of bother. Hard drive destroyed. Deleter of the free world. How about that? Hillary reveals she erased 30,000 emails. Nothing classified, ? Hillary could face jail time, said she'd emailed Bill. Now, this is a problem. Nobody emails Bill. Bill says that he has sent 2 email messages in his whole life. Can you imagine having anybody who he must be so busy philandering that he just does not have time to do anything else?
Or he has people that do that for him. I don't know. The
that,
philandering or the emailing?
Probably both. Probably both. Whew. We'll see whether or not she gets out of this. This would be a death knell for any conservative. Period. It just would be. They would be brought up on charges, run out of office, and if they were even a potential to be in office at that point, they would be, they would be harassed by the White House. The way they don't care at all. I love these guys. At least they're consistent. They are consistent. They know what they are about. I wanted to give some comments on the mayor's race. Love to hear from you as well. 569 1080 here on the Glen Biegel Show. Demboski matching donations in Anchorage's mayor's race. Of the $83,000, Demboski has put in $44,000 of her own money. She decided she would put her money where her mouth is. And a lot of people, I guess, are, I don't know, it's interesting how they're taking this. Berkowitz put in $75,000 of his own money. Berkowitz has $1,700 from his union folks in 3 weeks. That's the kind of money that they can put forward. Coffee has raised several $100,000. A lot of the people who give here in the city of Anchorage and virtually to any campaign, there's 2 kinds. There's business folks and there's lawyers. To a much, much lesser extent, doctors will give. But those are kind of the only folks who have enough money to play with other than in unions. So Halcrow puts in $75,000 of his own money. And one of the people says, Dame Demboski must be rich because she put in $44,000 of her own money. Her husband is a fireman. They're well paid. She's a CPA. She has a master's degree. She's well paid. So they don't have 9 kids. I think they have a few. They have 2 children. So they have $44,000 put away. She thinks that this seat is important enough to fight for. Do you find that to be over the top? Is that the wrong thing for her to do? 569 1080. That's the number here. So this was the comment that I had to respond to. Kate gives this little gem. I caught a segment of Demboski chatting with KFQD Howdy Doody host Steeran the other day. Steeran asked Demboski what the largest fiscal budget she managed. Demboski said $300,000. Now listen to this. This is to Kate. That's chub change compared to the multi-billions of dollars that Halcrow and Berkowitz helped manage while serving in the state legislature. Do you see the problem with her reasoning right off the top? If we're counting public budgets, she manages the city. And in fact, there's only 11 people to help manage the city of Anchorage's budget. There are 60 people. And if you count the governor, 61 to manage the state's budget. By the way, when Berkowitz was in office, I would venture to say that the largest budget that he had to deal with was probably $2 billion. Or Halcrow. Because Halcrow got out a long time ago. I think the last time he was in was like 2003, something like that. We did not have the biggest state budgets. Maybe it was $3 billion back then. So person for person, I would actually say that Demboski is, if not on par, if not more, she's on par with Berkowitz and Halcrow. That was my response. I said, what about the city budget? If Halcrow and Berkowitz claim to control budgets in the public sector, then so can she.
Well, and did Dave Steeren not say, I'm talking about other than what you've been on publicly?
Yeah, but I guess, I don't know what Steeren said. He probably said, I'm only going to accept private sector budgets. What do you think the largest private sector budget that Berkowitz has managed? I know he runs some, quote, nonprofit that is agitating for wind power here or there. Isn't it amazing how left-wing causes become nonprofits, then they get public sector money in order to be able to agitate for their cause? Don't you think people should be embarrassed by that? Now, Halcrow, who was born to wealth, and I think his dad started Avis up here, but anyway, he's managed a very large company. I don't know how closely, but he's the head of Avis here.
And I've heard Ethan is involved in maybe a few restaurants around town.
Oh, is he?
He's like co-owner.
Is he part of the what is the downtown?
I'm not sure.
Oh, what is it? So that's probably $1 million, $2 million, $3 million establishment there. Lots of people go there. If you are on the left, that is where you go. Whatever that. And I shouldn't give out the name. Even if I knew the name, I still wouldn't give it out. How do you like that? Although I do remember that Tony Knowles' place was the Downtown Deli.
That place was good. Yeah. I really liked that place.
It was quaint.
Mm-hmm. Good pancakes.
Oh, it had good pancakes? Mm-hmm. I never had pancakes.
Yep.
All right. All I ever had there was, and I knew that it was a rigged game when we were in jury duty. And all of a sudden, in walk our lunches, which are from the Downtown Deli. Like, oh, really? Isn't that clever? I think there's like 100 different restaurants that surround us. You really just Magic Glen Deli, Tony Knowles' establishment. I bet now they order from Berkowitz's place.
Probably.
It's a rigged game. It stinks. I can't stand it. I'm going to cut everybody slack. Anyway, I don't know what KFQD host Steeren was talking about there, but Kate, if we're talking about public sector budgets, then guess what? Then Amy Demboski has managed, and if you include the school district budget, which actually they have to approve, then it's well over $1 billion. It's about $1 billion. In that case, she's way ahead of all the other folks, other than just very recent people who've been in the legislature. So that's what I had to correct.
Well, you have to. You have to go on there and correct, because there's not going to be many of us who do that for the other side, for the right side.
Yeah. Well, conservatives.
That'll stir up some controversy.
Conservatives are quiet, very reserved people. Actually, they love to complain and then not participate. That's their favorite thing. Well, this country is going to hell, and we got a constitution. Are you going to give any money to a candidate? I would never do that.
Why are you using a Southern accent for that, Glenn?
That is not exactly a Southern accent. That could be, Oklahoma.
Everywhere south of us.
We haven't gotten to the deep south there. I don't know. I mean, it just bothers me. I am seriously and totally dumbfounded and bothered. Even if you only have $20, you know that if 100 of you out there with $20, you actually would make a big difference. It would be even more important? Inspiring your kids to get involved.
And that doesn't just mean money.
Yeah.
Write to them. My kid, I just mailed 2 letters today from my kid to, it was a homework assignment, but, he did a good job.
Well, that is excellent. That's a great idea. We just don't grow citizens anymore. We are quiet. And it's fairly understood, over time. What happened was the business community, and this happened from Ted Stevens. Basically, if you got involved in the Senate race, you were up against millions and millions of dollars. You could never figure out how to have any kind of an impact in anything like the Senate race. But what happened over time was our House races. They went from $10,000 affairs to $15,000 affairs to $30,000 affairs Now, if you're going to be in a contentious House race, I think what did Hollis French spend?
Oh,
like $130,000 from his union buddies.
And for what? He
Well,
got nothing.
He won by 2 or 3%. He actually changed we lost ground in the House because we elected. I mean, Hollis French was that big of a turnaround, and a couple of other seats went from. I think one out in the Valley went from a conservative or a little bit more of a moderate, but then it went to a very Democrat-leaning Republican. I'm a little worried about the House, by the way. I think we could have some trouble there. The Glen Biegel Show here on KOAN and KVNT 16 minutes before the hour. If you're looking for some assistance with financial matters, I've got just the place. Country Financial been protecting cars, homes, farms, lives, and futures. I'm going to add that for them. That's half of what they do is to help you make sure that the future that you've earned, you enjoy. And I know you work so hard during this life. I call this life and the success in this life and the next. That's your working life or your retired life. If you want to have success in your retired life, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to retire when I'm 55. I don't know how many times I've heard this. Okay, well, when I'm 58. Okay, well, when I'm 62. When I'm 67. Well, keep working just a little bit, and then they just have to work the rest of their life. They don't engage professionals when it comes time to do so. So I hope you don't make that mistake. They're out there, 13 locations all across the state of Alaska. You want somebody to partner with you. You want an Alaskan there with you. You want a professional there with you. Country Financial, 866-COUNTRY. Country is spelled
COUNTRY.
You are listening to the Glen Biegel Show, and that is the lovely Bonnie Cameron. 15 minutes before the hour, Coffee maintains a fundraising lead, $275,000 is what he has pulled in so far. And the question that is on a lot of people's minds, will the mud start to fly? We've kind of got $75,000 worth of mud we think is probably going to be coming from Halcro. And why he would. The teachers union split their vote two ways, which did not help him at all. They're not 90% of the teachers are going to vote for Berkowitz. So that's a tough one for him to overcome. I have a lot to talk about in the program today, including my cat. My cat. Did you know, Bonnie, that cats can make human-like noises?
I don't like cats.
They're some of the creepiest creatures that our world has produced. I'm putting spiders and cats, especially when cats start making human noises, sort of on the same level. I'll tell you about that later in the program. I would love to hear from you. 569-1080. 569-1080. Larry Cotter's got a great piece. There's no hiding from Alaska's fiscal reality. So let's face it head on. We're starting to get the outlines of what that looks like from the legislature. And it may give you a little bit of pause. Lots to do on the program today. The Glen Biegel Show here on KOAN and KVNT, 14 minutes before the hour. 11 minutes before the hour. It is the Glen Biegel Show here on KOAN, KVNT 569 1080. Can you call? What is your thought on the mayor's race? We were going to have Senator Cotton on, and he is out basically trying to organize the president and the president's deal on Iran. Alaska's senators went 1 for 2 on this with the now conservative senator. I think it's fair to call him conservative senator, Dan Sullivan, voting to object to Obama's plan to give in to Iran. The way that Drudge carries it is Iran declares victory. So Senator Cotton, he actually was going to be on. Jason Klein was trying to organize it, but something has broken. Instead of having him on here, they're going to have him on Fox News. Oh, well, I'm going to be on Fox News.
But we are still on the list, so that's good.
No, we look forward to having him on whenever he gets a chance. Alaska's U.S. senators split on GOP letter to Iranian government. Alaska's controversial Republican letter. Yes, this is Yereth Rosen. 46 senators. 46 senators sign a letter, and to Yereth Rosen, it is controversial. Hello? 46 senators almost never sign a letter about anything, pal. That doesn't make it controversial. You know what makes it controversial? That it's Republicans. Could you just get it straight? You do this time. Every time you write whatever it is about anybody you disagree with, it becomes controversial. Get over it. Get up on it. Give up on it. It's just... Anyway, a letter to Iranian government leaders that cast doubt on any potential nuclear agreement with the Obama administration. If Hillary Clinton gets to be president, this will become law. It's just that simple. I don't want to complicate it for you. I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's time for people to get an understanding that there is no difference between any of the Democrats who are running for president. It's just a matter of which head is giving you the message. Is it a Hillary's talking head? I think McConnell. No, it's not McConnell. That's funny. McDowell. What was there? Some new guy who plays guitar and he sings, and apparently he's thinking of challenging Hillary. All right, let me go to the phones. 569-1080. Robert, welcome. Oh wait, I gotta click the button. She's not clicking the button for me. Sorry, Bonnie.
Got me, Glenn?
Yes, I got you. Welcome.
I got a quick question. Since Murkowski seems to be on the wrong side of every conservative issue, I know it's ways out. Who are we going to put up against her?
Well, that's a great question. I have heard different people offered and suggested. She's going to be tough to beat in the primary. She's going to have millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. There are most people, right? Most Democrats don't even register for Democrat. This undeclared. They can all vote in the Republican. I don't know. I really don't know who we're going to put up, but I am hopeful we have a good one. Do you have a suggestion?
Maybe the man talking right now.
Robert? All right, I agree. Yes, Robert.
All right. Bye.
Robert, you're actually going to, thanks, I appreciate it. Rob, you're going to have a last name in order to actually run for. Could you just run as Robert? Because then people might think they're voting for your husband. Okay, well, and that might gain Robert some votes.
That could be.
No, here's the problem with me running for office is as you go through life and a recorded hour, you always say things that you wish you'd said better. And
Joe Miller's actually finding that out.
Oh, is he?
I mean, think about it. He says it like it is.
Yeah.
And those things could come back to haunt him.
Well,
there's people listening, just like they do for Rush or any of them.
There's only one person, by the way, that it won't matter if he says things the way they are, and that's Don Young. If Joe Miller runs against Don Young, saying things the way they are will actually help him out quite a bit. He's got no chance against Lisa and no chance in a three-way. I think Lisa takes it in a three-way race. She took it last time. She won what? 42% of the vote. It's not like anything's changed. It's not like the Democrats and the native corporations aren't going to spend the same amount of money.
She's pro-choice. She's pro-gay marriage.
I agree.
I mean,
I
why
agree.
would you run
I'm
as
sure
a
she's
Republican
pro-Common
anymore?
Core. She doesn't want secured borders. You know, she signed on to virtually every one of the crazy changes that they wanted. I don't know. I'm not saying that I want her in there. I just don't know. We'd have to have as good of a candidate as Sullivan run as a Republican against her.
Well, and the other thing is that she has
huge amount of money.
That she has that powerful chair
that
title.
Doesn't make any
difference. It does know that you can get back up there pretty quickly.
Here she is supporting the Iranian government getting a nuclear weapon, for gosh sakes, and immigration, all the other things. She's not acceptable to me, but let me go to the phones here to talk to Karen. Karen, nice to talk to you.
Hi, Glenn. Welcome back.
Oh, well, thanks very much. I'm feeling better. I appreciate Bonnie for filling in for me.
I do appreciate Bonnie, too, and her comment, I don't like cats, really cracked me up. But anyway.
Yeah, what did she have against my cat? My cat is perfectly decent. Of course, he freaks me out, and I'm telling you, he might be infested with Satan.
I think it's more that cats don't like me. So I think
I'm going to do a switch on the subject a little bit.
Okay.
I'm sure you must have seen the article about the ESD employees, teachers, and whatnot misusing the P card.
Oh, I don't know that I saw this year's, but I know that municipal employees are the people who I've seen in the past, buying like fruit basket stuff, putting all kinds of stuff on credit cards that they shouldn't.
Well, there's an audit of the ASD, and an article came out, I believe it was yesterday, about these school teachers spending like $2,500 on a faculty end-of-the-year dinner or lunch. Somebody bought 2 sheds and called it school supplies. Now, I've written to the mayor and to the superintendent and every school board member. I've heard back from Sullivan's assistant, and I've heard back from one board member. But basically, they just want to shove this under the rug and say, we're saving more money, so a little bit of abuse isn't that big of a deal. And I totally disagree. They are robbing us of taxpayer money that we're forced to pay in to that system.
Karen, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, you're absolutely right. And the only question is, what does it take to get the control of this board away from the teachers union? I don't know what the answer to that is. It's 3 minutes before the hour. We're out already? Appreciate that call, Karen. Thanks so much. He is the number 357-5868. And I look forward to this show. And I hope you know that. I hope you know that whenever you call, it's the most important part of the show, as far as I'm concerned. But public employees can do no wrong. If this was a conservative, it'd be all over. They made a big deal out of Joe Miller's fishing license. I think it was in the front page of the paper like 30 days in a row. You don't think that the media could make a big deal out of wasting $2,500 on an employee lunch that they put on their purchasing card? That didn't go through any process, right? There's no public process that was built around that. Yes, they can waste a little bit of money. The fact is, in my mind, they're wasting a lot of money. You're listening to the Glen Biegel Show. 2 minutes before the hour. Stay tuned. Daylight saving time, co-ed dorms, all here on the program today. And our Iditarod update from Cheryl Mativa, and it's her birthday, so don't tell anybody that. Don't let her know that you know that. 29. That's the great time.
Again?
Yeah, 29 again. No, I don't know that I know Cheryl. But it's nice to be 29. Whether you're 21, you could be 29, and people will go, yeah, exactly. And whether, if you could be 50 and look 29, that's exactly what everybody wants. Oh, the number of things that are falling across the plate. They are starting to come up with the also mentionables, the unmentionables from Hillary Clinton's problems with email, deleting email. Alarm bells ring. This is the way they say it on the left, by the way. They say Democrats worry that Clinton is not ready for the campaign. What do you need to be ready for? It's not like what was Obama ready for? To look at this teleprompter and then with great concern look at the other teleprompter to have some kind of very fake and ridiculous. Well, I think, the cadence of his voice, ridiculous. It's all insane. There's no getting ready for this. The question is, can they fool you today? That's it. There's no other question. What are they talking about? Democrats worry about Clinton's readiness for a campaign. BS. Come on. Get real. I get tired of this kind of stuff. They don't mean it for a second. There's no getting ready for a campaign. I really like the fact Karen called up last hour and she was complaining about what went on at the Anchorage School District and their purchasing cards, also called P cards, which sound a lot neater, more tidy than purchasing cards. So the P card problem is that the Anchorage School District was wasting a lot of money. They got caught doing it because they actually did it in the most uncontrolled way by putting it on a credit card. And here's what I like about her and her call. First of all, she calls. That means she cares. But secondly, she wrote to every person who is involved. You talk about public accountability. How many people even do that anymore? God bless you, Karen. What a wonderful person you must be. That you to actually question when your leaders, the people who are spending billions of dollars, they're blowing through your tax money like it's water, you care enough to actually write to them and question them when they have the audacity to steal money from you. God bless you. So, she's my hero of the day. Can we have a hero of the day? I think so.
I think we should. I really do look up to her too.
Well,
she does put her pen where her mouth is.
Well, good. Good. Standings, by the way, for the top 5 mushers, Ali Zirkle, who I keep praying wins.
I want her to win too. She's my pick.
I worked for her dad. He ran AAA aircraft sales or something like that. And I did tech work for them way, way, way back when. This was a guy who you just look like, and if John Wayne showed up at Zirkle's door, John Wayne would just wither like a little flower. That's how tough this guy was. There was literally nothing he could. If he wanted a plane to be in the air and there was no runway, he would throw it into the air.
Like Indiana Jones.
Well, and actually, the funny thing is that guy did crash his plane and he got out of the plane. That was a story from
on film.
Harrison
wasn't
Ford.
A stunt.
Yeah, he actually crashed his plane, and the emergency crews got there. Here's this broken plane, and Harrison Ford standing astride the plane, going, "Doggone plane!"
And I read about that plane.
They just don't make them like they used to.
It's really an old plane that's really difficult to handle.
Oh, really?
So he's even more awesome because of that.
He's totally awesome. All right, we're talking about someone who's truly awesome. Zirkle's dad. And anyway, I always hope she wins. And it gets right down to the end, and doggone, something weird happens, something crazy happens. Aaron Burmeister is second out of Tanana. He's a mere 8 minutes behind Ali Zirkle. Martin Buser. Is it Boozer or Buser?
It's Boozer.
All right, Martin Boozer. You just don't want to say it that way. Just like people don't want to say my last name is Biegel and Biegel and all kinds of other weird things. It's not a puppy dog. It's a German name. And I don't even think it has a meaning. So there you go. Martin Boozer. He is about an hour behind Allie. Dallas Seavey and Mitch Seavey. It always scares me when there's two people in the same family that are sort of working the thing together. There's something a little. No, actually, they're great mushers, obviously.
But, you know, Boozer has taken his 8 hours, I believe, and the others have not.
Oh, my gosh. He's a sneaky guy. There's just something sneaky about him. He runs the race at a very steady pace. You know, it's almost like it's not slow and steady wins the race, because that's a ridiculous thing. Look, the turtle was never going to win. I hate to tell you this. If you're a turtle and you're up against the hare, you're going to lose, okay? Unless that hare is smoking crack or something and spends 99% of his day playing video games. All right, where was I? Oh, well, hopefully we're going to. You just got a little bit of one there. The Glen Biegel Show here on KOAN, KVNT, 11 minutes after the hour. I love the title, Alarm Bells Ring, at the top of Drudge. Top Democrats are alarmed about Clinton's readiness for a campaign. Give me a break. Yeah, so she went in thinking that would give her bona fides, right? That would give her street cred. Well, you've never been the Secretary of State and had to deal with all of the other secretaries of state from around the world, have you now? Well, no, I'm just a governor. All I can do is run my state, which is what I did. Well, how qualified can you be? I mean, let's just be honest. And here, as it turns out, well, she might be qualified to wear some pinstripes going into the big house. Should we get rid of daylight saving time? And can we just call it daylight savings time? Why not? I don't understand.
I got in trouble for that.
Why?
It is daylight saving time.
Is you're saving daylight time? That's the time to save daylight. Daylight savings time. Daylight saving. It just sounds wrong. Okay. So they're going to kill. Are we going to be 5 hours off of and then 4 hours off of East Coast time? This is going to be a mess. I really think this is going to be a mess. We should all do it together. 12 minutes after the hour, the Glen Biegel Show. 16 minutes after the hour. The hour sponsor for this hour of the program is Dr. Dan Kiley, quality care for the whole family. And if you are looking for somebody to take care of your teeth so they can take care of you for a lifetime, best-in-class services with a caring touch, Dr. Dan Kiley and his team, they deliver healthy and attractive general dental care. They are just a phone call away, 562-9209, and you will have the one person everyone needs in their life. If you do call him a conservative, Dr. Dan Kiley, the hour sponsor for this hour of the show. On the phone with me here now is Cheryl Mativa. Cheryl, welcome.
And thank you. It's good to be here again today.
I have got a lot of questions, and I don't know exactly where to start. First of all, happy birthday, Bonnie. Are we going to sing happy birthday to Cheryl? Is that the plan?
I could do that. Happy birthday to you.
Nicely done, guys.
Yeah, not really.
We all get into that phrase, and then it's time to back off, right?
Yeah, isn't it? You're not allowed to sing happy birthday.
It's actually copyrighted.
Wow.
So, yes.
Well, thank you. You guys stopped before anyone could sue you. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's great. What a great place to celebrate a birthday out on the trail. I understand that cold has descended upon Alaska as it hasn't for basically all winter. So tell me about that first.
It is cold. Nighttime temperatures are right now running 30, 35 below zero, but even daytime temps, it's clear and cold. There's no snow. They've got bright blue skies, and we all know what that means. Oftentimes, that's what is creating the cold. And it's been cold. It's crunchy. I mean, it's just darn crunchy. And at those temperatures, even for the dogs, if you've got a dog with a good heavy coat, they're doing pretty well. But some of the dogs that have a lighter coat, they're wearing dog jackets, they're wearing dog booties. But mushers are bundled up like they certainly haven't been all winter during training season.
You say they got booties, and this was kind of a new thing. You know, a lot of us that used to watch the Iditarod long ago, did these really save the dog's paws? Are they critical for the dogs nowadays?
They are. And, you know, Glenn, every dog is different. Some dogs will have a tighter foot, what we say a tighter pad, maybe a little tougher to the bottom. But boots are mandatory. Dog booties are mandatory. You have to have enough boots per dog to rotate. I think it's 2 to 3 pairs per dog in a day's period. I mean, like, you're going to carry on that trail hundreds of dog booties at a time so that you're constantly able to rotate if you wish. But it's there for the protection of their feet. And that's what every musher needs to do, is take good care of their dogs, and their feet are crucial. So to give you an idea, let's say right now Mitch Seavey's in first place coming into Ruby. He's going to pull into Ruby. The first thing he's going to do is set his hook. You know, the vets will come over, start checking dogs. He's going to start pulling dog booties, getting his dogs bedded down, putting straw, and the dogs are going to immediately drop. They know, they are trained to, when the straw's down, they just curl up and start going to sleep. And he's going to start massaging their coats, their feet. They're going to put liniment into their feet to help keep them supple, keep them warm. And there's a whole protocol. And every musher might do it a little different, but the first and foremost thing at every checkpoint and every stop is taking care of their dogs.
Talking here with Cheryl Mativa. She's given us an update on the Iditarod. A lot of people's hearts are breaking over Brent Sass's disqualification from the Iditarod.
That is heart-wrenching. Brent is one of the nicest mushers out there. He's so well thought of. And I personally really believe it was simply an oversight. You know, I don't know of a musher that's not out there with an iPad or something for music. Everybody has headphones. And in his case, he was using his iTouch as not as a device for communication, but rather for his alarm clock, his music, his movies. And it's legal in the Yukon Quest. You know, he just won the quest using that device, and I think he's very sincere. It never entered his head. He wasn't dealing with the fact that there was a Wi-Fi capability. I think the Iditarod's going to have to look at this ruling. I remember back in the 70s when this ruling came about, it was to prevent people from getting coaching up the trail and having outside influences. That's one of the things about Iditarod. There's no outside assistance allowed. So
when you get your data, you get it in the next town, and you can sort of ask questions or find out what standings are and where people are at that point. Or, I mean, what kind of information are people allowed to have on the trail?
Well, you know, when a musher pulls into a checkpoint, they can talk with an official and say, hey, for example, is Dee Dee ahead of me? Has Dee Dee checked in yet? There's that kind of communication. But to get coaching off the trail or to be able to call somebody and say, what's the weather forecast? Okay, you don't want that outside. I don't want to have to, call my husband and say, or I didn't want to. I shouldn't be calling my husband to say, hey, what's it look like up the trail? You're looking at the GPS tracker. Who's ahead of me? Who's behind me? That's what we're avoiding. And so in his case, that iTouch has Wi-Fi capabilities. Not that he intended to use it, but it has it. But I think if the Iditarods are checking, they might find some of those exact same devices with other mushers as well.
Well, they better be careful. Cheryl Mativa here on the Glen Biegel Show giving us an Iditarod update. You said Mitch Seavey has gone into first. Is that the current status? And do you want to reveal anybody else? Dallas is probably right there with him.
Oh, I'm happy to tell you that it is so close right now, and mushers are literally within sight of each other. They're kind of tripping over each other up the trail. Mitch Seavey is just about 7 miles outside of Ruby. He is running about 8 miles an hour. He's got a full 16 dog team. To give you an idea, he's at mile 340, but Aaron Burmeister, mile 338. Dallas Seavey, currently in third, with Martin Booster and Allie Circle right on his tail. But man, I'll tell you what, right now the top 15 are all so close. It's still anybody's game, but there's a lot of strategy. And I'm going to say it again, keep an eye out for Thomas Warner. He's the rookie from running the Norwegian team, and right ahead of him is Jeff King. So you're looking at a lot of power on the trail and a lot of trail savvy.
I always like Allie, but Jor Leifseth Olsson, I just remember him. He was almost unstoppable last year. I just kept watching him, and he just almost got faster and faster as he went.
He did. He just charged up that trail last year. It was really a joy to watch him and his style and the relationship he had with his dogs. And that's the thing. It used to be you could say, oh, this is going to be the top 10 or the top 20. Today, you're looking, Glenn, at top 30, top 40, because so many of these mushers have competitive experience under their belts. They've been training together. This year, with the lack of snow, mushers were going anywhere they could get snow to train. So Eureka, the Denali Highway, there were 20, 30 mushers at a time, sometimes camping up in those regions where they could find snow and actually training together. So I think this year they have a lot more knowledge of what's going on with each other's dog teams as well.
I remember last year Burmeister had a problem keeping the number of dogs he needed to run a team. I think he ended up finishing, but he really lost a lot of dogs in the middle of the trail. Is he strong? Is he looking good?
Really strong. He's still running a full 16 dog team. He's in a solid, he's been running consistently between anywhere from leading at times to definitely a top 10. He's looking excellent. I never take him out of the ring,
Tell me about the trail. I mean, we just haven't had that much snow, and they almost, compared to how much snow we would normally get down here in Anchorage, the amount of snow up in Fairbanks is like 1/5 of that on any given normal year. I think they probably have had more snow than we have had this year. But what are things like? Are they running a lot on rivers, or what are they doing?
Right now, they've been running on the Yukon River. So they're doing a lot of river running. With this weather, it's cold, it's solid. It can be nasty if the wind does kick up. Right now, they're dealing with about 10-mile-per-hour winds. The wind kicks up, the Yukon can be brittle and nasty and not fun at all. But right now, they're doing well. They're making time. Dog teams are right now averaging anywhere from 7 to 9 miles per hour, which is a really nice, steady Iditarod speed. By the way, we just have new news coming in right now, my friend. Dallas Seavey has pulled into first. He has passed Aaron Burmeister and his father. And so they're going to do a little cat and mouse here. He's about 1 mile ahead of Mitch right now.
Wow. Well, we're getting the report as we go here from Cheryl Mativa. It is your birthday. Happy 29th, by the way.
And thank you so much.
Anything else that we need to know? You are saying that we ought to keep our eye on Thomas Werner, the rookie, and he's running a dog team out of where was it? Which
out of Norway.
Out of Norway.
And these are dogs that are from what happens in Norway. A number of the mushers share a kennel. So Robert Sorley, who's a 2-time Iditarod champion, some of these dogs are from Sorley's kennel. So keep an eye on him. And I'll tell you what, this has been a steady run. There are a lot of people that rested today at the Bible camp, which is a little checkpoint on the trail. I think they'll get into Ruby and do some resting. And this is where I think you'll see some mushers who may not have taken their mandatory 8-hour layover are going to take that in Ruby.
Have Boozer was the only one who took it that I'd heard of before. Is that still true?
Actually, Dee Dee John Rowe has taken it. Allie Zirkle has taken it. That 8-hour mandatory has to be taken somewhere on the Yukon River. And so right now it'll be interesting to see who has, like, what's the little idea. Martin Boozer, Hugh Neff, let's see, Thomas Warner has taken his, Dee Dee, and Nicholas Pettit. Those are the ones that come to mind right offhand. Jeff King, I think, at the last checkpoint. So the majority of them have not taken it. And after the run they've had, my guess is you're going to see some people taking that rest in Ruby, and then they'll get a nice start while it's still cooler temperatures going into the morning hours.
Are we expecting any change in the weather here coming up?
Nothing's predicted right now. I haven't heard anything different, but of course it can crop up in a hurry, as I said, on the river. But right now we're still looking at continued cold temperatures and no snow in sight.
All right, Cheryl Mativa, I really appreciate your update here and giving us the lowdown. And we have a new leader. Dallas Seavey has taken the lead about a mile ahead of his competitors, and we'll have to keep an eye on everything. Thanks so much. You're listening to the Glen Biegel Show here on KOAN and KVNT. Oh, the Iditarod. I think tonight is my night. I'm going to get on. I'm going to sign up for all the different things. I've been sick for the last couple of days. I've just been a little bit out of it, but I've got to get into this. I got to watch all those little dots charge up and down the trail and do my part to support the greatest race on earth, as they say. Really sad to see Brent Sass disqualified from the Iditarod. Hopefully nobody else makes that error. 28 minutes after the hour, it is the Glen Biegel Show here on KOAN, KVNT. Stay tuned.
Star.
Oh, be honest with me. You're one of the 2.3 billion people who have watched Gangnam Style. Whoopa. Yeah. You have no idea what he's saying either. If I told you what he was saying, you would be embarrassed. Not because it's dirty or anything. It's actually just completely ridiculous. What he's talking about is the fact that he likes a woman who likes coffee. And that's just the kind of woman that he wants to find. I mean, is that too much to ask for? A woman who likes coffee? That's pretty low standards, to be quite frank with you. I've watched this video probably 100 times. I could just be honest with you. I'm going to be flat out, straight up honest.
That and the I like cats video.
I like cats. I love
Every kind of
cat. I just want to hug all of them, but I can't hug every cat.
You really have?
I have. It's in my playlist. I can't get away from it.
I can't get it out of my mind now.
Oh my gosh, that woman was so funny. Whew. Yes, but anyway, so that's what Psy is talking about, and the 2.3 billion people. You got to figure there's probably a couple 100 million people who actually know what he is saying and go, "This is ridiculous."
And that was just on one video.
Yeah,
that 2.3 billion people have watched
actually, Hyuna, I know her name. Yes, the chick who's in Psy's Gangnam Style. She has like 500 million hits. And that song is terrible. She does not do a good job with that song, even though I've watched that about 10 times. All right. We clear on this?
I think we're good.
Have we had enough confessions of a talk show host?
We can get to Pete
on the show. It is Wing Wednesday, by the way.
Yay.
Very important day here in the show. If you have not had the wings from Wings and Things or their sandwiches, you have got to. And they're opening a new spot down in Diamond, but you've got to go to their 36th and Arctic. I'm going there tomorrow for lunch, and I can't wait. Wings and Things. We're giving away a gift certificate at the 45-minute break today. And if you are caller number 3, you will win that at the break. So 569-1080, 357-5868. And finally, we've been waiting for this. Pete, welcome to the program. Thanks for holding.
Yeah, no problem. I just had a quick comment on daylight savings. Seems like we do this every year. And why do we always just go for 1 hour or the other? And want to say that? Why not go to something like Central or Mountain Time? Then that'd give our businesses the most advantage. If we're going to change it, let's try to give our businesses as big advantage as possible. Then half the year we'd be on West Coast if we're Central or whatever, and then half the time we'd be in the middle of the country, which is 2 hours closer to where most of the business happens.
Have you ever heard the term, "That's so crazy, it might just work"?
Yeah, I've heard it a few times. I must be.
I like it, Pete. Look, what possible difference does it make? The hours up here are screwed up anyway. You know, at least in Pete's vision of the world here, it would be light when you got home, right? Like, no, it would be light when you went to work. It would be dark when you got home because it would be
half the year doesn't matter. Or half the year it's dark and half the year it's light, so it doesn't really matter what time zone you're on. Just put it on one and leave it there.
Here's the point. What do you think Alaska will end up with? Will we be on California time, whatever California time is? Well, they'd have to drop their going back and forth from daylight savings time.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I have a problem with the fact that we're going to be 5 hours off of East Coast time and then 4 hours off during the other parts of the year. It's going to be very confusing.
Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. 5 hours. I mean, 4 hours. We're 4 hours off now, and 5 hours is. I mean, it's hard enough to do business if you got to get up at 6 in the morning.
Exactly, because they quit at about noon when you are ready to start calling them because something is finally broken and now you need help with it.
Right. Yeah. So that was my thought. If you pick a Central time zone, then you're good on both coasts.
I like this plan. Pete, I love this plan. I am on board. I'm on board with you.
All right.
Thanks, Pete. How about that? Should we switch to Mountain Time or Arizona time?
You know, I don't see why not, because it's either really, really light here in Alaska or it's really, really dark. So really, at this point, what difference does it make?
What difference does it make? What I'm mad about, I'm still mad that Benjamin Franklin came up with this stupid idea. I'm still mad at Benjamin Franklin. He came up with this idea in like 1770.
You can't be wise all the time.
He's still making me mad. He's upsetting me. And this is to the fool who, within the last 5 years, actually argued, oh no, daylight savings time saves the United States of America about 5% of its total energy usage. Are you crazy? What possible, how the day to earlier or later change how much electricity we use? It doesn't make a 0.01% difference. I will grant you that it could make a 0.01% difference, but that's all. 90% of the energy we use is in heating our homes. Do our homes actually care what time of day it is? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Because I'm a little lost on that one. And in our cars, okay, there's another fantastically gargantuan amount of the use of energy. They used to want to do it because you needed to use candles, and they didn't have that much wax tallow. I think they got them from like horses or something. They probably ran out of horses to get wax tallow from. I don't actually know where they get that from. Anyway, so they didn't want to use up as many candles, and if it could just be light by the time that you needed to go to bed, then you wouldn't have to use as many wax candles. No one ever, no rational person ever claimed that it saved 5% of our total energy output, except for the fool that I remember from 5 years ago. I don't remember who it was, which is good, because I would disdain them. I might even vilify them, Bonnie Cameron, which I promise.
Just don't rabble-rouse.
I will not rabble-rouse, but I could have vilified the person who actually argued. Are we going to get rid of daylight savings time? You know it's going to make my life miserable. Every single computer on the entire planet, every phone, everything has to be patched because Alaska went and changed their stinking time.
That'll be one time.
All right,
one time it'll make your life miserable for a few hours.
Miserable. It is worth it, actually, because some of my systems actually get mad when the time changes. They're like, hey, it's 2 o'clock. Wait a minute. It's not 2 o'clock anymore. It's 3 o'clock. Who changed the time on me? And it freaks out some of the programs. Whew. It's Wing Wednesday, by the way. I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling good about Wing Wednesday. I want you to call me. Should we start taking calls now? We should just start taking calls right now. Right now.
Surprise.
And then surprise. There you go. If you want wings, if you want the greatest wings on the planet, and I highly suggest caller number 3-569-1080, 357-5868. It's the hot wings extra saucy. That is the phrase that pays at Wings and Things. Is their number, but right now we're giving away a gift certificate that you can win right here on the program. Give us a call, 569-1080. We're just going to give it away right now. We're that kind of crazy, and it is the day to be crazy. 569-1080, 357-5868. Public broadcasting a winner in the budget battle while schools and Medicaid struggle. I bet you that schools are not struggling like the university still are taking about a $25 million cut out of a $35 million cut. The cuts follow a cut of $16 million last year. This is still a pretty deep phasing down curriculum. Representative Dan Sadler, who is on the fence, by the way, if you are one of his constituents and wonder who it is that they're arguing and fighting for votes to try and increase the budget, Representative Dan Sadler's one. He's been a fairly solid conservative, much more conservative than I expected. So I don't know where he's going to come, any conservative part of the state. We do face significant budget challenges, he said, calling this year's cut round one. The vote to reduce the university budget cut by $10 million passed 8-3, with co-chairs Representative Mark Newman, Representative Steve Thompson, and Vice Chair Sadler support. Opposed were Gaddis, Wilson, and Pruitt. That doesn't make it 8-3. Does anybody know? Hello, News4G. You just gave us a 3-3. Who else is on that committee? Oh, I take it it's Democrats, and they don't count, right? Is that basically what you're trying to say? Doggone, these guys make me mad. The committee also added $700,000 to the ferry system budget, earlier cut by $10 million, but rejected more. Committee members who supported the cut said they calculated the fuel cost reductions would give the final help. We don't want a bunch of ferries who are running out of gas. Non-gaseous ferries are going to be a real problem for the state of Alaska. Larry Cotter introduces people to the reality of where we are as a state. As I write, the current price of West Texas crude is $50.32 per barrel. The state needs $140 per barrel to break even this fiscal year. We currently face a deficit of $3.5 billion for fiscal year 2015. This is the way Gaddis put it, by the way. She said that almost no matter what happens, we are going to take $7 billion out of savings. I think we have $18 billion, if I'm right. And that goes down to $11 billion after this year and the next year. And it's a little hard to keep track of because fiscal years, they're passing the budget for next fiscal year, which starts July 1 and then runs to June. So right now we're in the midst of about a $3.5 billion expenditure above and beyond what we can afford. And then next year's is going to come in at around $3.5 billion as well. By the way, apparently the state has not gotten the message, hey, we are not going back up to $134 per barrel. I guess they haven't got the message from Saudi Arabia that they're not going to allow oil to go above. They said somewhere around 75. I take it it's around 65, 60, something like that. Anyway, the state has us going back to $93 in fiscal year 2017. Can you say fracking? We will outproduce the world at $93 a barrel. $100 per barrel thereafter, gradually increasing to $134 a barrel in 2024. We will frack every area of this country. We will have more oil than the rest of the world put together. We're already the number one producer of oil at over 11 million barrels a day. They thought we could have gone to 20 without breaking a sweat if oil stayed about $100 a barrel. Even at $80 a barrel, we will continue to increase. And many of the fracking wells have not stopped, by the way. Even at $50 a barrel, we're still increasing the supply of oil from the United States of America. I want to talk about this Bethel grocery store. I also am going to have Terrence call in. He's going to give us a very brief recital of some of the history of the Serum Run, which he went on, he said. Did he not say that? He actually dog-mushed the Serum Run. Yeah. This is a hardy guy and a good friend of mine. You're listening to the Glen Biegel Show, 14 minutes before the hour, 569-1080 at 357-5868. Voice is still holding together, by the way, Bonnie. I'm still doing okay. Stay tuned. 11 minutes to go. The Glen Biegel Show continues. I'd love to hear from you. 569-1080. Payless Car Sales has a team of experts. They've got a couple of things going on for you that you will want to know about. I think tax day is coming up. Can you believe it's already, what is it? 10th, 11th. It's the 11th of March. It's like we just started the year.
It's crazy.
The year is already 1/6 plus over, and tax day is coming up upon you soon. Payless Car Sales will file your taxes for you. Their staff has been trained how to do that. They can calculate what your tax rebate will be, and you can apply that to a new car if you wish. Second thing they've got going on over at Payless Car Sales, paylesssales.com, is every single one of their cars is listed at or below, and oftentimes thousands of dollars below NADA, which is the dealer's price. So every one of their cars is a great deal. You're not going to lose the $5,000 as you drive that car off the lot. I don't think I could ever handle that sinking feeling of knowing that the 100 feet that I just drove my new car just cost my family $5,000. I can't handle that. So if you can't handle that either, here is just the place. Payless Car Sales, great deals, and a wonderful staff. 677 Auto. They're down at 919 East 5th Avenue and online at paylesssales.com. Glen Biegel Show on the air. I still can't believe it. We are 11 days into March. It seems like this year just started. And here we are shooting along. No reason yet offered for Bethel grocery closing, but competitor promises not to raise prices. Your competitor just shut down, and you're not going to raise prices. Well, I'm going to take just a wild and crazy guess. The other one did shut down. They weren't making enough money, because when you make money, generally you stay open. Does this not make sense? This is how crazy our state has gotten. The lone big grocery store that will be operating in this Western Alaska hub, and a lot of people shop out of Bethel. I think there's about 5,000 or 6,000 people. It's about the fifth largest town in the state. It's huge in comparison to most places. And I think there are like 300 towns, 400 towns in Anchorage. It's amazing how many there actually are. But anyway, I didn't say that. Bonnie gave me a look there, and I just wanted to know that I didn't say anything. After Friday, it won't raise its prices, but does expect a boost in business with competitor Swanson's closing, an executive with Alaska Commercial Company said Tuesday. Have you ever shopped at one of these stores, by the way, Bonnie? Alaska Commercial Company?
No, I have not.
So I went to Emonic, and I was doing fish processing there, and it was, I don't know, 1988, something like that, 1988, 1989. And I walk into the store, and I want to buy some milk. I don't know why it was that I wanted some milk, but I walked out of the store without milk, and that's because the milk costs $9 a gallon, and this is in I think it actually might have been 1987. This is in 1987 when $1 actually meant something. Milk back then might have been $2 a gallon, in town. $9 a gallon. That was at the Alaska Commercial Company.
I have shopped in Kodiak on an island there. Or not Kodiak Island, but it was one of the villages on Kodiak, and I think a candy bar was $3.50 or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
For a Snickers.
How could you possibly live there? I just don't get it. I guess they probably buy most stuff in bulk. I mean, I go to Walmart and I see all those carts at the back, and I figure those are all headed out to the bush. That they went online and they ordered all their stuff, and the Walmart folks piled it all in there, and they're going to ship it all out to the bush. At least it'd be a better deal, because then all you got to do is pay freight, pay shipping. Shopping out these places is tough, though. Anyway, I can't imagine that the closing of Swanson has not been explained. Neither Omni Enterprises Incorporated, the employee-owned company that ran the store, nor Bethel Native Corporation, builder and owner of the modern new building that Swanson's moved into last summer, responded to requests for interviews Monday and Tuesday. Is Bethel too small for 2 full-scale grocery stores? Did Swanson's fail to lure enough customers at its new location? Was it overextended because of lease payments to both Bethel Native Corporation for the new space and to Sea Lion Corporation? It sounds like there are probably a number of things going on there. And unfortunately, these don't always have a happy ending. An employee, and the sad thing is, who knows how much more unemployment that's going to lead to. Will we end daylight savings time? Pete had an idea, if you didn't hear him earlier, and it was that we should switch over to Mountain Time and Central Time, that we should float between those 2 time zones. I think it's a great idea. What difference does it make what time it is? When I end up going to work, I don't know, 5-something in the morning, and then I come over here at 3, get home at 6. It doesn't make any difference what time of day it is. It makes no difference whatsoever to me. I suppose for a lot of people out there, it might screw with your kid's head. And that's, that could be a problem. If you are a parent and you want your children to at least kind of trying to figure out what time of the day it is. Mike Dingman writes this piece in the Alaska Dispatch News. Uber's departure is Anchorage's loss and cab cartel's gain. I don't think they're actually leaving. They're still trying to work out with Mayor Sullivan exactly how it is that they're going to comply with our municipal ordinances. I would suggest this. If you do care about having competition for things like this and let people judge whether or not they're safe and there's enough information in order to be picked up by another driver who wants to give you a ride, then look for assembly members who are interested in having Uber operate in Anchorage. It's really up to us. There's nobody else who's going to design a city other than just you and me. Co-ed dormitory rooms coming soon at UAF, if you can imagine. And this comes from transgender students, by the way. They couldn't decide which sex.
Was that my biggest eye roll ever?
It might have been. This change is part of a new program called Gender Inclusive Housing. A man and woman, 2 transgender students, or any other 2 student configurations can share a room. I just don't think there's the same appreciation of the power of human sexuality and how important it is to forming a permanent relationship. I think it's just you pretty much used and abused. And people just don't give it a whole lot of credence. You've been listening to the Glen Biegel Show, and perfect timing. My voice is going out just as we end the show 2 minutes before the hour. God bless, folks. Have a great Wednesday.